Round 15 of the Nationwide Technology Systems V8 Super Series. Hello and welcome. Nice to be at your place, wherever you're joining us all around Australia or the world, be it via Facebook or YouTube on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting. Tonight, of course, we head to Belgium, the last country that we haven't yet ticked off of the 7 we're scheduled to visit this season in the Nationwide Technology Systems Series, and the famed Spa Francorchamps circuit. Here, a lot of nerves and tension because with just 3 rounds to go, at the end of this round, drop rounds come into play. Zach Caban alongside Chris Kisby for our broadcast tonight on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting. And Kisby, the Holden Ford battle resumes. It goes to Belgium. One of the most iconic tracks anywhere in the world is Spa. And 22 laps ahead of us tonight. It's going to be frantic.
Oh, g'day, Zach. G'day, JP. G'day, viewers. Yeah, what a track. Spa. Fast cars. What a dream. I love this track, Zach. It has a bit of everything. It has elevation. It has turns. It has camber. It has off tracks. It's just one of those tracks that everybody, most people love to drive, and I know I'm one of them. I absolutely love to drive this track and can't wait to see what the V8s bring out on the surface today.
Exactly right. Looking forward to getting stuck into this race tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Where do we want to go first? I think we should have a look at the race facts for tonight for this round of the championship. There it is, 25th of May, 2021. The race start time scheduled for 10 past 8 Belgium time. So we're about 8 hours into the future, but we're almost in sync in terms of, well, it's 8:30 when the race starts server time for us here on the east coast of Australia, but track time, server time is 10 past 8, which is about 4:10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Thank Christ we're not here at that time, otherwise the coffee would be brewing fair and simple.
I'd have it on for you, Zach, don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. Air temp and track temp exactly the same at 19 degrees. Wind speed about 10 kilometres an hour in a southwesterly direction. 49.5 litre fuel restriction on this race. 5.6 litres fuel burn per lap. 2 sets of tyres. The race distance, well, it's 22 laps, 154.088 kilometres on a 7.004 kilometre circuit. Now, that 49 litre fuel restriction, let's punch the numbers straight off the top here, Kisby, rather than waiting until the race gets underway to do that. 49.5.
Taxing my brain already.
Exactly, divided by 5.6 gets us 8.83. So, again, it's a case of you can get it done on 2 laps, on 2 stops if you want to, but the option is there for 3. If we get a safety car, you might come in and top up. You might look to use your fresh set of tyres. I don't know.
You know what the top runners are going to do, don't you?
Exactly right.
They're going to run the 2. Yeah.
It's going to be fun. There's the qualifying leaderboard at the moment. Leonage and Costello on top. Benny Morris, the surprise packet, sitting 3rd at the moment. His lap speed, his overall pace has been good, Kisby. It's just the ladder race hasn't worked in his favour in recent weeks. It's either been the case of the tyres have gone off or the drivers come into trouble of some description. Benny Morris might well be due for a podium tonight.
He might be. It'd be good to see him get up there with the other blue disc. And hopefully we can see that go. So staying out of trouble, keeping out of the off tracks, which we know there's a few coming up through here. And hopefully we'll see him on the podium at the end. We'll get to have a chat to him at the end.
Exactly right. Now, next week, of course, Brands Hatch. The week after Mount Panorama. Tonight, it is all about Spa. So we go long track, short track, long track to finish the season. And another impressive field lining up for this race tonight. 28 in the server. Jim Delios yet to set a time. Cameron Jones yet to set a time. We're hearing breaking news off the top that Cameron Jones has computer issues. He is trying to get himself fixed, and he may need to start at the back of the grid if he can get in the server in time to race tonight. Huge implications if he can't start, of course. But already huge implications if he has to start at the rear of the grid, because fighting your way through, yes, there are overtaking opportunities around here, Chris Kisby, but it's not going to be easy in a field of this calibre.
No, it's not. And we've seen that week in, week out, trying to get past other cars here in any track. with these drivers has been fairly difficult. And he's not the only one with the computer issues. Looks like Discord's having a real go with me tonight, so it's lagging like crazy. So I'll be doing most of my stuff off the iRacing server, so I may be just a little bit ahead of you. So if I react a little bit late, that's why.
Or early in that case, even as well. Hey, the other thing, the other thing as well, Chris Kisby, Southeast Queenslanders. There's a few of us, myself included. We're all on notice because we had a mass power outage that affected more than 500,000 homes earlier this afternoon, and Energex, who sometimes can't even perform a task as simple as a meter read, this is their biggest job that they've ever had, restoring power to 500,000 homes. I didn't exactly hold the greatest degree of confidence in them getting it done as quickly as they have, but well done to Energex. Credit where credit's due. Just continue doing the meter reads as you're supposed to, and you'll keep getting credit from me. In the meantime, electricity companies and organisations up here have encouraged Southeast Queenslanders to limit their power usage. Obviously, JP and myself aren't adhering to that. But if we do get a blackout at any point, that explains what it's all about, because they're not totally confident that everyone, if they don't preserve power in some way, shape or form, will keep electricity for the duration of the evening. There was a big power explosion up at one of the facilities up in central Queensland there, and they're still trying to fix that. Everyone's accounted for, everyone's okay, but they're obviously just trying to fix the problem full stop so that everything can resume as per normal tomorrow. Now, the question is why we don't have more power grids here in the southeast and we're relying on something in central Queensland. Again, don't get me started on the 18th century nature of this state, Chris Kisby, and the infrastructure to go with it, but there's another perfect example of it for you.
I didn't. You did. I was going to ask you what caused it there, but then my dad's on solar power and he's not real happy with the company there too, because for the last 5 years they put the solar stuff in, and it was actually running in reverse. So he wasn't paying any power at all. And after 5 years, they finally decided, there's something wrong. So they've come out and put a new meter in. So now it's running the right way. So now he's not so happy as well. So.
Yeah, it was the Collide power station. For those of you that aren't yet aware of the news, near Lee. And obviously everyone that was involved on site when the explosion went off, everyone's present and accounted for, so that's the good thing. Obviously now they work on fixing. News out. Exactly. Obviously now they work on fixing and repairing the damage, and if that means that we have some intricate power issues along the way here that hamper the broadcast, at least you're aware of what they are before we get anywhere. I just wanted to address that off the top so that you all know what's going on. In the meantime, let's focus on what's happening on track here at Spa. Pressure cooker night of racing ahead of us here. Leonage and Costello will lead the field to green, it would appear. It is Leonage who's just pipped Costello whilst we've been talking about the power outages. By 1/100th of a second. In fact, not even that, it's 7,000th of a second, if you don't mind. 7,000th of a second. 2:19.143 plays, 2:19.150. Then Ben Morris, Sean McNamara looking to bounce back after a disappointing week last week. Then David Kirby. Alex Court looking to bounce back as well. He's sixth at this point in time, and we've got 4.32 seconds left in qualifying. Checkered flag will fly now. The session is over.
Got that perfect, mate. Got that perfect.
And now we wait for the cars to line up on the grid here. Obviously, Kisby, 22 laps. Not a lot, but around here, that's a lot of racing time because it's a 2-minute 19 lap, 2-minute 18 potentially for the heavyweights at the front of the field. They might be able to sneak into the 18s in race trim a little bit later on tonight. It's not a lot of time, but thankfully with 20 corners to play with, you got some key overtaking opportunities. Of course, turn 1, turn 3 going into Eau Rouge, turn 7 at the end of the Camel Straight. And then you've got probably the next best overtaking opportunity is going to be on the drag all the way up to turn 19. There are other overtaking opportunities along the way around here. There's no shortage of them, but executing the manoeuvres is going to be the difficult part of tonight.
Well, that's right, Zach. It's all well and good for us to turn around and say it's just passing manoeuvres, but you've got to be in the right spot at the right time, and you've got to be able to control your car as you're going through. There's no use dive bombing in and then wrecking it out. There's no use sort of overdoing what you would normally do going through. So it's keep an eye out, take the opportunities when they come, and as I'm finding out, wait for the mistakes. And the more I'm doing that, the more I'm finding little places to pass.
I've just had good news come through from the Courier Mail. We were talking about potential for rolling blackouts tonight, but they've now been cancelled.
Nice.
Because there was a play earlier. So this is good news for all of our Queensland viewers and all of our Queensland competitors. Although Cameron Jones might be out of the race is breaking news that I'm seeing up here on our Discord chat. Unless he can get back in the server in time, he's going to be out of business tonight. That would be a huge blow to him and the rest of his team. Of course, in fact, I can't even see Cameron Veacock in the server, so he's the only one flying the flag for them tonight. And therefore, yeah, that's huge news off the top here. But yeah, after an earlier plea for residents to conserve electricity in the wake of a mammoth outage that affected hundreds of thousands of people, rolling blackouts have been cancelled for Queensland, which is good news. And means that we should be able to play on right through to 10:30 tonight at the end of our broadcast. Indeed, let's do it. So, cars will line up on the grid. We'll get this race underway and rolling for you, ladies and gentlemen. Watch out for the potential of safety cars. Watch out for... Just disregard at the bottom of the screen there, folks. There's nothing to that. That's just a test from race control, I would assume.
Test from race
control. Make sure their graphics are working.
Speaking of race control,
live broadcast, hey, Chris Kisby?
Yeah. Speaking of race control, and did you look at the blokes that are in race control here at the moment? There's 2, 4, 6, 7 of them. How many are in my races? 1.
Yep.
I'm going to have a chat with our guys.
Exactly, and leave me out of it when you do. Circuit of Spa, Francorchamps. Let's have a look at the grid for this round of the Nationwide Technology Systems V8 Super Series, the Spa Supercar Grand Prix, and it is Lassif Leonage on pole position from Reina Costello, Ben Morris and Sean McNamara from row 2, and the good thing about that, look at that, 4 different teams in the top 4. Dean Powell makes it 5th position. Alongside him is David Kirby. So you've got, in the end there, folks, 6, 7 different teams in the top 10. It's really good to see. Alex Corton, Robert Crisdale from row 4, Simon Vella and Ash Davis from row 5, Michael Angus and Peter Crossingham from row 6. Row 7, Craig Schultz and Lindsay Hobbs. Row 8, Alan Dawson and Brian Cooper. Row 9, Tim Mulford and Simon Chadwick. Row 10, Jacob Brewer and Scott McCune. Row 11, Ben Siren and Blake Urquhart. Row 12, Chris Barnes and Wade Michael. Row 13, Steve Vella and Daniel Schultz. Row 14, John Nicolaou and Craig Newell. Row 15, Cameron Jones and Jim Delios. And row 16 is the safety car, so don't worry about that. But he might make an appearance tonight. Given it's Spa, he might make an appearance tonight. Let's wait and see. They need to get cleanly through our rouge before we take a breath and a sigh of relief.
That's going to be something to watch.
Who's your money on, Kisby?
Who do you think?
Copy that. Let's go.
Costello.
Round 15 of the NTS Super Series from Spa. Slow get away from Leonage, but it's going to be enough to get the job done on the run to turn 1. Good run from Benny Morris down the inside. He's going to have Reina Costello covered as well. To turn 1 they go. Leonage leads them through.
3 rounds.
Trouble at the back. Couple of cars in the wars back there, but Leonage skips clear. Costello's got back by Morris, who tucks in to the slipstream and blocks the attack of Sean McNamara. David Kirby up to 5th. Then Robert Crisdale, Dean Powell, and Alex Cord as they head down the Camel Straight for the first time.
3 wide round turn 1's never going to work.
Not when it's that tight. Here's Morris having a lunge on Costello. Not yet. Around the outside. No. Costello chops him off. 22 laps to go, and they're drinking it out on lap 1 as though it's lap 22. Down to the hairpin. That is turn 10. Ben Morris sits 3rd. Sean McNamara, Dean Powell, David Kirby, then Alex Court. The top 7 remain status quo at the moment. The big losers, Robert Crisdale down 9 positions, down to 17th. Then Simon Chadwick down 12 positions to 30th. So no Cameron Jones. Actually, no, I stand corrected. Jones has got out there. Jones has got onto the grid. No Matthew Hill, no Cameron Veacock is part of a few of the big names that are missing from the grid tonight. David Kirby sits sixth there as they come through the chicane or the S-bend and up towards the end of the second intermediate, the second split here. That's a very clean getaway from most of them. Scott McCune lost 5 positions and Wade Michael did as well. I think we've got a safety car on circuit, do we? Well, there you go. Lassif Leonage bringing the field back at a moderate tempo and the safety car is being deployed. Well, there you go. We were caught off guard by that one.
Yeah.
We'll have a look at some Snap Eye Racing photography replays here. Chris Kisby, talk us through it.
Yeah, there was. I can't see the Discord channel there, but I saw them going 3 wide into turn 1. But when I said spin off, it wasn't. They weren't spun out. I think they were just jostling and going. Here we go, safety car, following vehicle towing. So somebody must have gone off into the wall there.
Hang on. They were 4 wide, Kisby. That was half the problem.
Oh,
4
look
wide.
at that.
Wow. So Simon Chadwick, we believe, is the vehicle being towed. He's going to be out of the race. Let's have a look at this on the run down. Oh, 4 wide. Jeez, that was never going to work. Yep. Massive hit.
I saw so many cars going through there, and I thought, hello, something's going on here. It's going to end up.
Big hit for Chadwick. He's out of business. Yep. So just to recap, I'm a little bit surprised because obviously we've only got 29 left in the race now. This is one of our lower fields of the season, and that's saying something. I mean, the field size have been extraordinary. They've been very impressive. But there's already Scott McCune, Blake Urquhart, Steve Vella, and Cameron Jones using this as an opportunity to pit. Wade Michael is also in pit lane.
Well, I suppose it'd give you a lap and a half, I suppose.
Well, that's true. Yeah, exactly. So,
I mean, the way these races have been going, a lap and a half could be the key thing. You know, if they can lap it, get enough fuel in there to go a lap and a half more, then maybe that's...
Agreed. An inch could be as good as a mile here, Kisby.
Well, it's the less they have to put into at the end of the race. So even though they do have to come in for that splash and dash, because they've already pitted early, they've gone that extra lap and a half, they can actually put in less fuel at the end.
Correct. So the lights are ablaze on the safety car here. I think the key for us, in terms of knowing when that safety car is coming in, is when the headlights go out, not when any, because there's no other lights other than the headlights.
Yeah,
so when the headlights go out, that will be when the safety car is coming in. I dare say this will only be a 1-lap intervention because of the lap being so long for 1, and 2, the field should be able to catch back up and be on the tail by then for 2. Chadwick's in the lane. We know that he's going to be out of business. Wade Michael also out of business, it would appear. Blake Urquhart is in the lane early as well. McCune, Jones and Vella have continued on. They're back out there after a short splash and dash. For Cameron Jones, it was 38 seconds, if you don't mind. So he's got a lot of work to do. But interesting, no Cameron Veacock, no Matthew Hill, and they're just 2 that I can think of. I mean, there are a lot of names that we talk about in this series week to week, but they're 2 that you would normally factor into the equation of running in the top 10 in qualifying that weren't on the grid tonight. And, of course, Cameron Jones being that far down as well. It's about salvaging the best possible result for him right now, isn't it, Kisby? Or taking advantage of the drop round, as you just said.
Well, it's the last chance that they do get a chance to do that. So, okay, I just heard on the radio, pace car's in this lap. So, the lights are still blazing at the moment.
There they go. They'll be out in a moment, and he'll come into pit lane. Now, just quickly, we should point out as well, 8:18 p.m. server time at this point in time. So we're racing into the sunset. I don't think we'll quite get there because Belgium embraces that progressive civilized concept of daylight saving, and that's something to be applauded. So on a hot night in May, 9:30 is about sunset time, and now you're heading towards summer.
Pace car's taken off.
The other point we should make note of, Kisby, pit lane speed 60 k's an hour, incidents kick in at 19x and every 9x thereafter. They're the two things that I left out at the top of the call. We're getting back to racing this time by. We're getting ready to go back to green, and it is Lasif Leonage.
Here we go.
We'll bring the field back to the green flag. Let's go. Lap 3 from Spa. Leonage leads the field across the line. Rainer Costello goes with him. A good, clean restart from both of them. And Ben Morris happy to tuck into third and keep Sean McNamara at bay. Dean Power, David Kirby, Alex Cord. Caught on the inside of Kirby, getting the job done. Through turn one, and Cord goes to 6th.
Left him a little bit of room there. Oh, a bit of a tap on a Rouge.
Jeez, that's David Kirby off track.
Simon
He's going to drop a couple of spots
Kirby,
here.
I think. Yep.
So we'll have a look at that on a replay shortly for you. In the meantime, we focus on the battle at the front. Leonage and Costello. And they've been duking it out all season. Costello's on a hat-trick tonight, of course, having won the last 2 rounds. We wait and see what he's got for the Holden. The NTS Commodore here in Belgium. Great to have you company wherever you're tuning in across the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting. Let us know what you're making of the action thus far. Matt Davis almost fell asleep under safety car because the laps are that long. I'm hearing you, mate. I'm hearing you. Matty Davis back in here tomorrow night
Here we
for
go.
the GAC Series. Here's Daniel Schultz. This is at turn 1, Kisby. He's gone just a little bit too wide. Oh, no, he's got a tap from, one of the NTS cars further back down, back down the order, rather. And Cameron Jones has come through and said, thank you very much. I'll take 3 of you. So, on the notion of Matt Davis as well, we're a little bit surprised that we didn't have him in here for the usual hot lap, but that's okay. We're going to crank up the volume a little bit later on and go for a hot lap without description anyway, ladies and gentlemen. Some of you enjoy it when we're talking you through the action. Some of you enjoy it without the commentary, and we understand that, but we get paid to be here for the commentary. So you're just going to have to put up with it for the moment.
You can't please everybody all the time, can you?
No, exactly. Have a look at McNamara up on the outside. Morris tucks in, keeps him at bay. In behind them, Dean Power and Alex Cord as well. Cord will be mindful that he doesn't want to let these guys get too far away. He wants to start moving his way up the order. He said to me earlier today on Facebook, he said, hopefully I'm chatting to you at 9:30 tonight. Well, we'll wait and see.
Well, just the class, the 2 drivers out front, Lads and Rainer. Look at the gap they've got already. I mean, every lap they're just drawing away. So as much as Benny Morris put in a great time, single time, the 2 class drivers of Lads and Rainer are just in a class of their own, I think.
Frustrating night for Cameron Jones. He's buried down in 23rd at the moment. We're watching Rainer Costello. On the back of Lasif Leonage, we've got Ben Morris 3rd. Ben McNamara, Powell, caught the fastest part of the race. 2:19.36. The slipstream plays a critical factor here, Kisby, along the Camel Straight there. You just saw evidence of that.
Yeah, Benny Morris came right up onto the back of Rainer, and it was, he's caught right up. The 3 cars behind are catching up onto Benny Morris. So, wow, great driving, guys.
I've just had it confirmed as well. The great Matt Davis, the anchor for the GAC series, he'll be in here for our Bathurst Enduro over 250 kilometres. He'll be in with Kisby and I for the call that night. Looking forward to it immensely. Having the 3 of us here for a 250 kilometre race. That's going to be good fun. Oh, geez, a squeeze job.
Matt, my name's Chris, not Craig.
Yeah. Oh, dear. That's from last week, isn't it? So David Kirby,
apparently,
after being shuffled out of the way at Eau Rouge, has slipped down the order to 17th. He's under pressure from Robert Crisdale and, he's putting the pressure on Robert Crisdale. He's under pressure from Tim Mulford and Jacob Brewer at the moment. Lap 4 of 22. Leonage leads, caught the fastest lap of the race. Long laps at Spa, but we hope you're enjoying it as much as we are so far. Craig Schultz, you're on board with him at this point in time. Early chance to crank up the volume, actually. No.
It is.
I was somewhat waiting for Kisby to jump in there, but no, that's okay. Vlasic Leonage leads the way down to turn 1. Second, great run off turn 1 from Reina Costello there. He's going to be a threat to Leonage when they get down to the end of the Camel Straight.
He's all over the back. He's all over the back of Laz at the moment. And I'm just going to do an onboard
Watch them fly
shot
towards you and past. Have a look at that. Whoa. Now there it is. Costello up on the inside. He's got the draft. He's got the drag, and the Ford's going to take the lead. Does Ben Morris want to go with him? He does, but he can't. Ben Morris tucks back in. Three of them drifting it out at the moment. Costello's going to lead them at Spa. And McNamara's going with them as well. They've lost Court and Plough at the moment, but only by about 3 or 4 car lengths. Not too much in it at this point in time. This is great stuff.
Going around that big loopy, you're down to second, and you just got to hold that and stream that round there. Too much brake. Yep, go for it.
You're right, Kisney. No, I was going to say, Sim Snap, iRacing Photography Replay. There's Costello down the inside of Leonage, executing the move beautifully, using the slipstream of the draft to his advantage and getting the job done. The Falcon's in front. No, the Mustang, rather, is in front. The Ford is in front at Spa.
I don't care what you call it. They're all the same, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They're all oranges and tomatoes, aren't they? They're all the same.
They've all got that Ford and the little blue disc.
There is David Kirby at the moment in 17th. Had great pace last week. Terrific pace last week. A really good result from him at Road Atlanta.
Really tricky.
We've just lost Chris Kisby, actually. But I don't know what happened there. We'll get him back. In the meantime, let's continue on. Craig Schultz, 13th. 14th is Brian Cooper. Kisby is back with us. I'm not sure what's going on. Someone tripped the power in Tassie, did they, mate?
No, I don't know, mate. It's just, I said, the Discord is having a real problem at the moment for whatever reason.
Copy that. So, down the main straight they come. Another lap in the books. We're on to lap 6. Yeah, we've only completed 5 laps, folks. It's going to be a long night, but it's going to go quickly once we do snap into it. And, of course, the pit stop window is not too far away either. Because, as we said, I've crunched those fuel burn numbers at the top of the call, and it was 8.83. So they're in the window now. They could technically come in now. Have a look at Benny Morris. Have a look at Vlasic Leonage. Does he want to make an issue of it? He does. Oh, jeez, I tell you what. They've come together. He came from way back, Benny Morris. And Leonage is gone. McNamara's caught up in that as well.
Yeah.
Carnage.
Someone else coming through.
Carnage at the end of the Camel Straight. The SimSnap.com iRacing Photography Replay for you. Oh, wow. McNamara had nowhere to go. And Leonage has got him on the run through. And Leonage, well, you can't blame him for that. He got turned by Morris.
Yep.
That's given Reina Costello a huge advantage at the front of the field. A huge...
He can relax a bit now and just drive.
Yeah, huge kick of confidence because Dean Powell and Alex Court are the big beneficiaries in all of that. Michael Angus up to 4th. Simon Vella up to 5th. Leonage back to 6th. Crossing and McNamara, Davis, Hobbs. They're the top 10. Now, we should point out, I was just making a point before we had a look at Benny Morris making that move there on the inside. Dare say he's going to get slapped with a penalty for sure. But they're in that window. If they want to play the reverse strategy, Kisby, they can stop at the end of this lap because then they can run to 14 and then 8 laps gets them home. The tank isn't quite 9 laps based on the numbers we've been given. So they can stop now and then at the end of 14 if they wish. Alternatively, they can run 8.16 or they could run 7.14, 7.15. There's a few different ways they can play it here, but the window is open. There is no doubt about that. For the first of the 2 fuel stops we'll see tonight. Lap 7 of 22. Reina Costello, massive boost for him with 2 of his main protagonists out of contention, out of business at the moment. They're buried in the pack. McNamara is 7th, Leonage is 8th, and have a look at Lindsay Hobbs. putting the pressure on there as well. Ash Davis on his inside. In behind them is Alan Dawson, then Craig Schultz. And Brian Cooper, Chris Barnes, Robert Crisdale. Then David Kirby, the two teammates for Excalibur. They're side by side. Now they tuck back in.
Look at this, a new
Dawson's
name
got
up
a
the
head
top
of
there,
Hobbs.
Dean Power.
Yeah, good to see Power at the top. Here's the simsnap.com iRacing photography replay. This is Alex Court going to second, and this will be on the inside of Dean Power, but I'm not sure whether it's going to be here or down through. Oh, it's going to be there, all right, because Dean Power's locked it up going through one. He's crossed it up. He slowed himself on the exit. He's bogged it down, and he's had no choice but to drop in behind Alex Court.
Yeah, that's what I saw on the official server, so I just couldn't catch what the name was. He's gone through there. But, so consolidate his position, drive his race. The race is his now. He just needs to make no mistakes, does young Rayner, and we'll be seeing who fights it out for the minor placings.
Maybe will. Hope you're enjoying it. Lasif Leonage in a bit of trouble here at the moment. He hasn't had much trouble all season. He's had a really good run. I mean, the worst I could think of might have been Donington Park in one of the reverse grid races. He had a bit of trouble getting through there. And at Silverstone, the car was a bit of a dog for him as well. But the rest of the season, he has been a top 3 performer. Tonight, he's on the back foot with damage. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in at the end of this lap.
Spa brings out the
throws the cat amongst the pigeons, doesn't it?
That's the one. It throws the cat amongst the pigeons, and as we've seen already, it's just one of those tracks that you either get it right or you get it wrong. And if you get it wrong, you're in a world of pain.
Exactly right. Now, there you go. 1, 2, 3 into the pit lane at the top of screen there. Bang. Brian Cooper, Chris Barnes, Robert Crisdale, all in at this point in time. Not the only ones. Tim Mulford joins them. So pit lanes just got busy. Forget about Simon Chadwick, Wade Michael, they're both out of the race. Blake Urquhart out of the race as well. He's gone. And the rest of the field continue on. Rainer Costello, Alex Court, Dean Powell, 1, 2, 3. Lindsay Hobbs in 11th at the moment, all over the back of his teammate Alan Dawson as they head up the Camel Straight once more. Really good racing here on a Tuesday night. Hope you're enjoying it wherever you're tuning in. Good to see so many of you tuning in via our Facebook platform, hopefully YouTube as well. And let us know your feedback. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your comments on the racing so far. It's been good. It's been fierce. It's been intense. And
it has. Just keep an eye on the screen there, and because the radio chatter says there's a few things starting to come through now. So we'll just keep an eye and see what penalties may have come from that last little incident.
Lasif Leonage sitting 8th at the moment. Rainer Costello leads it by 4.9 seconds. But yeah, it's the incidents, the events of the first 7 laps have left us with a lot of intrigue, a lot of spice to the remaining 15 laps of this race. Most notably following the progress of Lasif Leonage, who's under pressure at the moment from Ash Davis, who was a standout performer last week at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, it's this track. I know a few of the guys don't like this track. I can't understand why. But for me, if I'm having a good night and I'm zoned in, I can do lap after lap after lap around here. But then you get some nights where you just cannot get it right. And, those are frustrating nights. And I think it's one of those nights for Laz and the driver involved with him. And Alex is into the pits.
So caught in, along with McNamara and Crossingham, all in the lane at this point in time. Davis and Dawson follow. So,
wow, Rayner stayed out.
What's interesting is Rayner stayed out and Lasif stayed out as well. Now, what should also be noted here, Kisby, and we always forget it, and I'm the one that will cop the blame on that. The fact that we had that lap under safety car will enable all these drivers to stretch it out to 9 if they want to. They would have saved enough fuel to get 9 laps to
Yeah.
this stint. Maybe not 10, but definitely 9.
So 17 seconds in the pits for Alex. 17.7, almost 18.
Now, what's going to be interesting here is,
17 seconds flat for Sean McNamara.
how it all plays out with regards to who takes their tyres when.
Yes.
Do they take it this stop? Do they take it next stop? Because we know that you're going to be compromised either way.
Rayner hasn't had to work hard because of the incident. In the last few laps, he's been able to conserve his tyres. So I would doubt he would take a set of tyres and then save his tyres for the last. The other guys have been working a little bit harder for position, which means their tyres have been working a little bit harder, a little bit hotter, and they may have to figure out how they can handle the car on the tyre wear. So it'll be an individual choice as to how much work they've been doing as they've been going around. Bit of a lock up there by Alex.
Indeed it was.
On sighting. There we go. Benny Morris back down in P10. Fighting with a few other cars there. Lindsay Hobbs. Craig Schultz.
So Ash Davis has squeezed back out in 20th position there, Kisby, which is interesting because so Jones has pitted, but he only pitted on lap 1. I don't know. I don't think that's going to be too much of an advantage for him in the greater scheme of things. I think he's going to have to stop twice. Now, no surprise there. Car 43, car contact with Lassif Leonage. That is, of course, Benny Morris going to pit lane for a drive-through. Bad luck. That'll be him out of contention as well. Angus Hobbs, Morris, Kirby, Jones, all in now. Costello, Power, Vela, Leonage, Schultz continue on. So they're all confident that they can get a 10th lap out of the tank here.
Yeah,
so that's
and remember that Ben can't serve his penalty while he's in the pits.
Exactly right. Now, here's the other thing too, Kisby. I'm thinking now, because it's going to be 10 and 12, I wouldn't be too surprised if some of the guys that are going to pit at lap 10 as opposed to 8 or 9, I wouldn't be surprised if some of them think about taking the tyres now, because instead of running out to, 14, 15, 16 laps on that first set of tyres, it's going to be a 10 and 12 split. It's going to be much more even than it otherwise would have been because of that safety car falling on lap 1.
Well, that's right. It's just how their mindset is. If they think they can make up enough time in this particular section where they know the other car probably won't take tyres, is it worth them going through? And then at the end of the race, hopefully they'll have caught up and still have enough in their tyre wear to keep pace with when they do change tyres.
Costello leads. Howe is second. Vela third. Schultz fourth. Leonage is fifth. Leonage under pressure at the moment from... putting the pressure on, I should say, on Craig Schultz. We're running with Brian Cooper in 12th position. Under pressure from Chris Dale and Davis. At this point in time, Costello will be heading to pit lane this time. I can't see them getting an 11th lap out of the stint. It has to be pit lane this time for Rayner, Costello, Dean Powell, Simon Vela, Craig Schultz, and Lassif Leonage. We watch Costello head towards the bus stop, and then towards pit lane. Watch him. He'll flick it hard right here. Gone. See ya. Into the lane. Rayner Costello's in on pit road. Dean Powell will go with him.
Oh,
Car
Michael
005. No. Steve Vella's going to cop a drive-through for contact on the 64 on lap 6.
There you go, lap 6
005 on Daniel Schultz.
Someone off the back there. Who's that?
And we've got Steve Vella off the circuit, so he's not just gone from bad to worse. Not only has he got a drive-through, he's off the circuit. And he's dropped right down the order as well. And he's taken a... I think so. I think so.
That won't go well either.
That won't go down well at all. He's had an off-track excursion. And then he's fast escaped into the pit lane. So I don't know. I don't like commenting on stuff like that. That's not my
No.
usual game as a commentator. Rainer Costello's out of the pit lane. He's on the racetrack. Scott McCune is the race leader, if you don't mind, by a staggering margin. But in McCune's defence, he's got to stop again because he stopped on lap 1. So don't read too much into that. It'll be Costello, the effective leader from Corton Crossingham, and McNamara. Now, I want to know exactly what happened to Steve Vella because he needs normally, and I don't like getting too political with regards to the racing. I don't mind getting political with regards to incompetent governments and other things. But when it comes to the racing, I usually like to leave this for experts or officials or whatever the case may be. But normally, just to fill in the gap for the viewers at home, normally if you fall off the circuit as Vella did, we saw him dropping down the chart. He had a big off track next to his name. Normally, you've got to seek permission or a request from race control for a tow and go back to the pit lane. But our monitor saw him drop into pit lane very, very quickly. So I don't know. I don't think race control will have a sense of humour about that one. And I'll be interested to see. And that wasn't long after he copped a drive-through penalty or contact with Schultz as well, Daniel, on lap 6. So we haven't
happened
seen
with
the
Rainer
incident.
there too.
We haven't
He's
seen
still
the
been able
incident.
to keep P1, but
Hang on. No. That explains it. I'm just getting a message through here, and I thank Jono for sending this through via our Discord channel. Car 005, Steve Vella, who we were just commenting about with regards to going to pit lane, etc. He's been DQ'd by race control for swearing at one of the officials over the black flag. So that's why he dropped off very quickly off track and then into the pit lane. And that's why the tow hasn't impacted on the safety car and whatever else. The race is able to go on. So Vella has been black flagged for those of you. So now that we're at the bottom of that, you should be up to speed as well. We had no bloody idea what was going on here because it seemed very strange. But no, thanks to Race Control for clearing that up via our Discord chat here. We appreciate that. Thank you, Jono. Nicely done. They're on the ball. Rainer Costello leads at the moment. That is the effective race lead. As Scott McCune drops down the order, completing his first compulsory pit stop. Costello, Court, Crossingham, McNamara, Vella, Power, Barnes, Crisdale, Cooper and Davis, the top 10. So this is a very difficult night at the office for someone like Lassif Leonard. Down in 15th, Cameron Jones in 16th, David Kirby in 14th. Names that you would not expect to see that far down the order. Ben Morris with his drive-through back in 20th position. And we have 25 still running. We have Jim Delios in the lane after an incident on lap 9 as well.
You got Alex Court all over the back of Rainer.
This is a big opportunity for Alex Court. Knowing that Lassif's not going to have the result he'd want tonight, this is a huge opportunity for Alex Court to try and capitalise, to try and one-up the competition here and really cement himself as the second best in the title race. We know he's got second locked at the moment, locked up, but we wait to see what it means when drop rounds come into play. Now, I don't know whether those drop round points will be shown to you on the screen at the end of the broadcast. I have no idea because that'll all have to be calculated by our team behind the scenes. So I dare say we'll bring you the updated points with regards to round 15 as it stands at the end of the broadcast. And then once the drop rounds are in the equation, we'll show you them first up next Tuesday night. Lap 12 of 22 here at the Spa Supercar circuit in Belgium. Hope you're enjoying our coverage on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting. Don't forget, GAC V8T2 E-Series. Steve Vella, car 005, disqualified from the round. No points for Steve Vella. And look, let's come back to that one later, Kisby. I'll make a comment about that one later, and I'm sure you will as well, because I don't want it to overshadow the race here at the moment, because this is intense stuff, what we're watching here at this point in time. Ash Davis is 10th at the moment. This is really good stuff. Don't forget GAC V8T2 E-Series tomorrow night at 8:20 Eastern Standard Time. Saturday night, Memorial Day style for the Weekend Warriors from Charlotte. And I'm back in the booth for that one because Aidan Schultz has been doing a sterling job of bringing you the stock cars on a Saturday night here on the platforms of Simshed Broadcasting. We'll be in the pilot seat. He'll be having a race. He'll be having a steer, and we're looking forward to seeing how he goes and wishing him the very best of luck. That's Saturday night from 7:30 Eastern Standard Time right here on Simshed Broadcasting. In the meantime, have a look at this.
Alex.
This is Team Tao under some sort of pressure. Chris Barnes up on the outside. Barnes trying to drag race down the Camel Straight with Powell. Can he get by? No, not yet. Powell holds on. Barnes having a crack.
So we got Alex Court all the way, all over the back of Rayner there.
Yep, and we're riding on board with Rayner.
So as I mentioned there, through all that stuff there earlier, Rayner had an issue and had to go back into the pits. So I don't know what's caused all that, but it's allowed the other cars to catch up to him again. So remember what I said about Rayner just driving and not making a mistake? It seems like he's made the mistake, and now Alex is all over the back of him. So now he's got to start again and get that lead back out to where it was.
Indeed. Let's ride on board with Alex Court if we can, JP. Just go for a ride here as he has a lunge up on the inside. He wanted to have a crack, didn't he? Here we go, riding on board with Alex Court. Geez, if he can get a good run through here, he's going to be really close. He's going to be in the position to throw it down the inside when they get to the bus stop. Ford versus Holden, Court versus Costello. Costello defending on the inside. Court goes to the outside, trying to get the up and under. No, that won't work. Back to the main straight. 9 laps to go, and Rayner Costello fighting for victory with Alex Court breathing down his neck, looking for his first win of the championship. This is what it's all about, Kisby. This is great racing between a bloke and an older bloke. A Ford versus a Holden. This is what supercar fans really enjoy.
Well, that's right. And this is what I enjoy about, and I sit and watch them. And I watch their lines as they're trying to defend, or I watch their lines as they're trying to attack. And I've picked up a few things over the few weeks, and it's noticeable in my own racing over at the gentleman's. But here we go. He's going to back out. Alex is going to back out of it again. But this can be a tricky little corner, this too, up through the chicane there. This one always catches me if I'm not in the right gear. So you got to get right down to that second gear, coast it round the corner, and then on exit, you've really got to watch your accelerator as you're putting it on, because you can slide out really easy.
We ride on board with Alex Court, following Rayner Costello. He's dropped a bit of time here. He's half a second back from the youngster at the moment. Fighting for another podium finish, but more importantly, fighting for his first round of the win of the championship. His first round win of the season, if he can get up tonight. For Alex Court, Rayner Costello wants the hat trick, and that would be perfect, consistent performance from Rayner Costello.
You can see how hard Alex is working there. He's braking that probably half a second later than Rayner. I'm doing a review of Alex, and I'm seeing Rayner's brakes come on, and then half a second later I'll see Alex's come on. So he's working hard to get up that close into the under the tail of Rayner and just get him to pull him along. So here we go. He's in the slipstream, steadying himself for the kink. And you watch Rayner go to the inside to defend again. Yes, there we go.
Mistake by so Costello in the lane, caught onto the main straight. A little bit of a slip and slide from him as he got onto the main straight, but he has the race lead for the moment, pending this second round of pit stops and how they all play out. Costello, Vella, Power, Barnes, Cooper, Dawson, all in, and Hobbs as well. So too David Kirby. Leonard and Schultz stay out, but they're the only 3 in the top 11 to do that, and Jones is going with them as well. John McNamara completed his second stop the lap before, so he's on a 9-lap run to the checkered flag. That's a risk. And he's going to have to save a little bit of fuel on our numbers to get to the checkered flag. Or maybe he's hanging out for another safety car. Who knows? The Court, Schultz, Leonage, Jones. Now here's Jones all over the back of Leonage. Jeez, Leonage looks worse for wear, doesn't he? Jeez, he's had a rough night. Side by side, Jones gets by Leonage. Job done. Second place is Schultz at the moment. Leonage is fourth. Morris is fifth. Costello sixth. Then McNamara. But the difference is the top five haven't stopped the second time. Everyone else has.
Yeah. It just gives you an indication of how intense the racing is at the moment. I was so focused on what was happening between that I didn't even see the pit run. And Alex is on 7. This will be 8. And the others have come in. But I was trying to figure out why Rayner had pitted so early. But that's why, is that we're now at the end of their pit run. And it was I was so focused on what was happening and trying to figure out how I would get past Rayner in that instance, or how I would defend against Alex. And it's just the learning curve for me is just unbelievable. So if you're a young driver watching these guys, just keep an eye on them and see their lines, see where they're braking, and you will learn so much watching them in the rear view or front view. And watching the other cars as well to see how they line themselves up, how they position themselves to go around a slower car.
Alex Court into the line. That's the critical stop. We've got our eyes on Rayner Costello now, because that's the man that's in the race with Alex Court. Forget about the rest. This is a race between two. The number 44 and the 888. Leonage continues on. Onto the main straight again. He's going to go around another lap.
Coming around the bus.
Here comes Rayner onto the main straight. Leonage is the leader. Court is in his pit box. Court is still in his pit box. And it's Costello who's got him. Court's on his way out. But I think Costello's going to have the job done comfortably. Costello. McNamara does go through. The undercut works. McNamara's just got to save a little bit of fuel. We know he's good at that. To get home. And Court will be all of a sudden fighting for third. But a podium is still a podium. Especially at this point of the season.
Jump from the tail of Rayner right to third. That's got to hurt.
Well, exactly. However, in saying that, Kisby, he's going to finish ahead of Cameron Jones comfortably. Yep. And he's going to finish ahead of Lassif Leonage comfortably. So this is a big night for Alex Court in terms of the championship race. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt Cameron Jones more than it's going to hurt Alex Court. Court is still going to be second in the championship after this round.
So Spa Francorchamps has thrown out the gauntlet. It's really given us a race to end where they can take their drop rounds. So I would dare say that a couple of them are going to use Spa as their drop round.
Yeah, exactly. What perfect timing, eh?
Oh. Rayner Costello in control of this race at the moment. Coming up against some back markers there. Who's he got in front of him? Ben Morris.
Would you believe it? I've got a motorsport colleague by the name of Lachlan Mansell more excited about the return of the weakest link than he is about the broadcast tonight.
Why would you be more excited about that? Come on.
Well, I can understand it because I used to like the weakest link when it was on the television way back when, but Magnus Shabansky is no Cornelia Francis, okay? Let's just put that out there to begin with.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And just then, as we're talking about we're just talking about a critical point of this motor race, Kisby, and Mansell messages me saying, oh, the theme music's the same as it used to be. Well, I don't hear it at the moment. Don't ruin it for me. I've got it recording. Have a look at this. Alex Court tried to fire it down the inside of Sean McNamara and wasn't able to get the job done. A little bit of a touch between the pair of them. This is a critical point of the race. This is the battle for second because we know Leonage has got to stop again. We know Costello's clear by about 4 seconds. This is the battle for second. Mustang will be on top in Belgium tonight. But look at this. Caught on the outside. McNamara on the inside. They go status quo. They hold position. For the moment, McNamara crossed up again. Through the chicane on the way down. Towards turn 10. The hairpin halfway home. The back section of the circuit to come. Oh, this is super racing. And Court. No risks required from Alex Court. This is a great night for him, given how poorly it's played out for Leonage and for Jones. And Jones has dropped down to 21st position on the back of his third stop there, which was the second of the second scheduled pit stop, of course, on lap 15. So he's out of business for the night. It's a salvage mission for him from there. He's got to try and make the best of a bad situation, as does Leonage. That's why Leonage is going long in this stint. But in the meantime, McNamara is under tremendous pressure here from Alex Court. Lap 17 of 22. I promised you we'd crank up the volume at some point, ladies and gentlemen. We might not have a chance to because we've got to keep our eyes on this battle. This is just fascinating stuff between the two men, Sean McNamara and Alex Court.
Here comes Alex again.
Yeah, here he comes, all right.
Oh, he had an off track there.
And I tell you what, clean races will be few and far between tonight. There's a lot of people that are testing the limits of adhesion here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you go too wide onto the green there, coming down that straight there and out of the Kent. And it's an off track every single time.
Oh, McNamara's wide. There's the moment. That's the moment. Court drags up alongside. Alex Court's going to go to second here as they head down towards Eau Rouge. But will McNamara want to force the issue through here? Yes, he will. Side by side through.
That's it.
McNamara's won in the wall. He's gone. McNamara's in the wall in a big moment.
Oh, and that'd have to be Sean's fault as well.
StemSnap.com, iRacing photography replay for you. Let's have a look at this.
I don't think he had enough overlap. He should have yielded the corner.
Oh, geez, too hard to call for mine. I don't envy race control in that situation, Kisby.
Yeah, well, I've heard nothing on the radio, so...
But will this car be drivable back to pit lane, or are we going to get a late race safety car? That's the other question. Will he be able to drive that thing home? He continues to drop down the order. He has soldiered on. He's okay, so he's kept going. The race stays green. That is so lucky for Rainer Costello, and probably for Lassif Leonage as well, because he was due to stop, or is due to stop in the coming lap. Caught now third and comfortably, and wide going through the S's here.
Had a bit of a lock-up.
Well, I said we might not get a chance to crank up the volume. I think we will now, because that was the main battle we're keeping our eyes on. David Kirby's all over the back of Chris Barnes further back in the pack. We'll get to that in a moment. In the meantime, let's go for a lap of Spa with Rainer Costello, who leads comfortably here at the moment at the Spa Francorchamps circuit in Belgium. This will be 4 laps to go when they cross the line. Lassif Leonage, you can see him just ahead there. It's only 1.8 seconds. Does Leonage pit now or next time by? It's next time by. Let's go for a ride with Rainer Costello. What a ride that was with Reina Costello around one of the best racetracks anywhere in the world, the Spa Supercar Circuit in Belgium. Lassif Leonage in the lane, Sean McNamara retiring from the race. It's been a strange night here. A night of attrition. We probably expected that. Race 17 of the championship, and it has thrown up all sorts of drama, all sorts of intrigue, and it's going to probably net a podium finish for Simon Vella. He sits third in all of that. He's the beneficiary of the downfall of Sean McNamara. Alex Cord a second faster that time around than Reina Costello. However, he's still 4 seconds in arrears. So it's going to take a monumental effort in the last 3 laps for Alex Cord to even turn that around. You can see him in the distance there. Sunset approaching at Spa, but we're going to get this one done in the daylight, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're watching in Queensland, see, these are the benefits of daylight saving, ladies and gentlemen. Get on board.
Any chance, mate. Any chance.
Right. Mate. Yeah, exactly. Any chance. Absolutely. I even found a way to compare it to the poor infrastructure that we have in place with regards to power stations today. I managed to even tie it in there. So any chance I get. 3 to go here, 2.5. And we're watching the battle further down the order between the Excalibur esports entry of the number 12 in Lindsay Hobbs. Is all over the back of Ben Morris at the moment. Lassif Leonage 14th, Cameron Jones 18th. Rough night at the office for those guys, but this will be a drop round for them. Don't worry about that. Although it will be for Laz, definitely for Laz. Cameron, on the other hand, I'm not sure. Has he had a DNF already? He might be in trouble there. He might not be able to use this as a drop. I'm not sure.
Well, we'll
find out.
We know Reina gets a drop round because of school camp.
Exactly, so that's a 0.
But then what's the next worst race that Reina's had? I'm trying to think back as to which one was whether he finished on top of Laz or because that's the points there are going to be. It's going to be up some real thought-provoking conversation because you got probably Laz will drop tonight. I think this is probably the furthest he's actually finished down. I'm just trying to remember. So don't think he's been in every race, so he hasn't got one of those. Yeah, 3 laps to go.
Alex Cord
getting 1 second per lap isn't going to.
No, Alex Cord coming home like a steam train at the moment, but it's not going to be enough.
To make no mistakes.
And that's the other thing too. You've got to be mindful of where these guys are on incident points tonight.
Yeah.
With those little off tracks, they've all been using the extra runoff area, the AstroTurf, in some way, shape, or form. Have a look at this. This is a good scrap here. Dean Power and Peter Crossingham fighting for 4th and 5th. Crossingham on the outside, Power on the inside. Crossingham using all the AstroTurf and a little bit more. Then a touch! Then a bump! Oh, wow. Good hip and shoulder stuff between this pair. Crossingham on the outside, trying to hold it and go all the way around to 4th, if you don't mind, on Dean Powell. Oh, good work, Peter Crossingham. The move of the night. Powell looks to fight back on the outside. That puts him on the inside for the next corner. Crossingham staying there, though. Crossingham gets the job done. Oh, what a great exchange in the battle for 4th. Not over yet. There's going to be 1 lap to go. Watch that battle. Closest one anywhere on the track. We've had no shortage of excitement tonight. We've had no shortage of great racing. It's fast coming to an end. White flag will be out for Reina Costello this time.
Dean Powers laid under brakes.
Ooh.
Right on. Oh, he's going to look. Oh, Crossingham sliding as he come out of the corner.
There's some really good commitment from these guys tonight. No doubt about that. Power
Yeah,
and
colour the
Crossing
inside.
continue their battle down. Turn 1 to La Source, then the run down to Eau Rouge. And you suspect that he needs to get the job done in the first half of the lap, or Crossingham might just be able to pull away. Reina
here we
Costello
go.
leads by 2.62 seconds. Through Eau Rouge they go. Last time commitment, hammer and tong. Great
He's
aggressive
getting the run.
driving from both.
Dean Power's getting the run up the hill.
Can he get a
Here we
toe?
go.
No, he can't. Now he's on the outside. Crossingham
Outside.
insisted on defending on the inside. Can insist.
Oh, no.
That's tight. That's really tight. Too
That
tight.
is-
That's great stuff, though. Power on the
Well done,
outside.
Dean.
Gets it done. Oh, this is magnificent. This battle for fourth. It's not over yet. Power and Crossingham. We need to go with Reina Costello, though. We'll get back to that battle no sooner than Reina crosses the line. We'll go back to that scrap between Crossingham and Power, which remains Power ahead of Crossingham. In the meantime, this guy's earned his 15 seconds of fame in this broadcast.
3 for
As
3.
far as the season is concerned, this is going to be 3 from 3. 3 on the trot. A hat-trick of wins in the back half of the championship. Not an easy thing to do given the calibre of drivers in the server here. But Reina Costello has shown that youthful exuberance is going to be a trump card when we get them out Panorama in a fortnight's time. Although that being said, 150 kilometres and 250 kilometres are two completely different kettles of fish. Last turn,
Different
checker
track,
flag,
too.
into the bus stop he
Oh.
goes, 100%. This is a fantastic performance from Reina Costello. Job done in Belgium. Costello makes it a hat-trick, 3 on the trot in the NTS Super Series. He wins the Spa Supercar Grand Prix. Alex Court second, Simon Vella third. Now we can see, oh no, there goes Kirby. Kirby's gone round. On the last lap. Wow. That's going to drop him down the order. He comes home in 9th. And with the red line next to him as well. There you go. Brian Cooper 10th. But Peter Crossingham and Dean Powell, that was won by Dean Powell. So Simon Vella in for 3rd. Great result for Simon. Dean Powell 4th, Peter Crossingham 5th, Robert Crisdale, Craig Schultz, Chris Barnes, David Kirby and Brian Cooper, the top 10. Michael Angus home for 11th, so the Calamari Racing boys both in the top 12. Alan Dawson 12th, Ben Morris, Ash Davis, Lyseth Leonage, then Lindsay Hobbs, Tim Mulford, Cameron Jones, Scott McCune and Jacob Brewer will come home in 20th. And what we should point out there, that is a very abnormal result. Lyseth Leonage and Cameron Jones, it's a very different looking, very lopsided leaderboard tonight. When you got those two heavyweights, hot shots down there. Lights ablaze for these guys. They can do that now, and they can get away with it without getting whacked across the knuckles by Chris Kisby. That is a great result from Reina Costello, and that's an equally impressive result for Dean Powell, holding off Peter Crossingham in the closing stages there in what was a titanic scrap. Great racing, Chris Kisby. I'm interested in your thoughts on all that.
Oh, what a race. Even though Reina was out fairly way out front there in the end, it seemed to me like a tough race for him, because early on it was close racing between the 4 cars there. Then he got that bit of a gap, and then he's had a mishap, had to come back and fight them off again a second time, and then he's built up his lead again with an undercut. The racing for 3rd, 4th, phenomenal. It was just great racing in the end there. Great tracks bring out great driving and great spectacles, and I think we've had one tonight, Zach.
There we have just shy of an hour of racing there for you folks. The race time, Reina Costello home in 55 minutes and 3 seconds. Alex Court second, very well deserved, and then Simon Vella third, Dean Powell, Peter Crossingham made up the top 5. I'm just waiting for this opportunity for Reina Costello to prove his worth with the fireworks here. Ooh. Just getting word as well. just getting word through here. Race control informing us that the 956 of Peter Crossingham is out of fuel. That's going to cost him 3 places. So what was going to be a top 5 finish for Peter Crossingham is going to get dropped down to 8th. That is costly for Peter Crossingham.
How harsh is that?
That is hugely costly for Peter Crossingham.
Come on,
Hey,
JP.
but they're rules. Morris might also be out of fuel, and that's going to cost him 3 places too. He came home 12. No, they're okay. We're getting mixed messages, but we're reliably informed now that Ben Morris is a-okay. Oh, what a tragedy for Peter Crossingham, but what a result for Ray Costello.
Oh, but that's harsh. The race is over. It's once the race is over, you've timed it to the perfect, with your fuel strategy, and in a course that's as long as Spa, then to run out of fuel halfway around. To me, that's a bit harsh, but that's only my point of view. And that's what makes our country great. We all have different points of view, and we're allowed to have those points of view.
Well, on that subject, I want your thoughts on Steve Veller a little bit later on as well. But here's Rainer Costello. Those tyres look fried because it's more black smoke than grey, but hey, let's enjoy the moment with Rainer Costello running it up and celebrating a hat-trick.
There you go. Yeah, you reckon he's running on rims, do you, not tyres?
Could be.
He could.
They could be absolutely fried.
I hope that's not engine smoke.
It doesn't matter if it
doesn't
goes.
want it to rebuild. No. Yeah, but you want to look after that engine. It's got him 3 for 3. If he has to put a new engine in, then you don't know what's going to be going with it. So, yeah.
We've got a problem in pit lane, boys. Can we have a look at that? Can we have a look at the entrance pit lane? Ash Davis is locked in pit lane and he's stuck. He cannot get the thing turned. He is blocking the entry to pit lane. He's crashed on the entrance to pit lane, Ash Davis. Let's have a look at this. This was at the end of the race as the cars were coming into the lane. Oh, no.
Coming in. Oops.
Wall.
Oh, he's not going to get out of there.
And he's trying
to tow, sir.
We might be able to take a live shot of this. He might be trying to... No, he's okay. He's okay. Let's have a look at the results. Ash Davis has got going. He's okay. He's in the lane. Rainer Costello wins by 1.413 seconds from Alex Court, Simon Velovas third, then Dean Powell. Wow. Peter Crossingham. Cameron Jones just confirming that his computer is fried, by the way, in the Discord chat.
Yep.
Robert Crisdale, Craig Schultz, Chris Barnes, Brian Cooper, and Michael Angus made up the top 10. But of course,
over the page.
This is all pending post-race stuff as well. Alan Dawson, then Lassif Leonage, Lindsay Hobbs, then Mulford, Cameron Jones, Scott McCune, then David Kirby, Jacob Brewer, and Ash Davis. Now, Kirby, I want to come back to in a moment. Just going outside the top 20. John Nikolaff and Craig Newell finished on the lead lap. Then Daniel Schultz was the lap down. Ben Siren, Sean McNamara was first of the retirements. Jim Delios, Blake Urquhart, Wade Michael, Simon Chadwick, and Steve Veller on a night of high attrition in Belgium. The Spa Supercar Grand Prix for the Nationwide Technology Systems V8 Super Series. And we have got a lot of drivers standing by to have a chat here in the booth. Post-race, Dean Powell's even popped in from 4th position as well. So we've got the top 4 here for a chat post-race, which we're hugely excited about. Now, just having a look here as well, I want to go back and address a couple of things, Kisby.
Yep.
I'm going to get to the Steve Veller incident a little bit later on because I want your views on that. But
have your drinks, boys, while we talk.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, the David Kirby, it looks as though incident points might have pinged him. He come across the line with the red line through his name. Now, he come across the line in 9th position, and he's obviously copped a penalty from iRacing post-race there that's plummeted him down the order to 18th. So that's disappointing way for Kirby's night to end. I mentioned there about 3 or 4 laps from home about incident points and where some of the drivers were up to. Clearly, that incident on the last corner where Kirby spun around and got clipped into, that's pushed him over the limit.
Yeah, it will. I mean, Spa is notorious for incident points, especially the kink. And if you don't get a rouge right, you'll cop them there as well. So you've really got to manage those if you're going to have any chance of not getting drive through, and hope the race controllers or whoever set up the race has given you enough to actually get around. So yeah, it's disappointing, but we had a case the other night where we had some place getters in one of our races, and then they had incidences after the line, and they actually got put down 5 or 6 places. So
Yeah. Yep.
because of it, so it's just something that is out of anybody's control except race control, except iRacing.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess that's one of the pitfalls of having when you've got a live race control, but iRacing still has some control.
Yep.
Unfortunately, there's no way around that. That's just one of the pitfalls of the technology. But through all its faults, iRacing delivers such great entertainment 3 nights a week here on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting. Let's get stuck into the chat here. Again, I'm going to come back to the Steve Vella incident a little bit later on, Kisby, so hang with me for that in the meantime. Simon Vella's here, Rainer Costello's here, Alex Cord is here. I know Rainer's on a time frame, so I'll get to him in just a moment. Firstly, though, Dean Powell, can we just say well done to you?
Wow.
Fifth on the grid,
Well
fourth
done,
in the
mate.
race. My goodness, what a cracking scrap that was with Peter Crossingham in the closing stages. Unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, mate, that was awesome. Some good congratulations to him too, because he gave me plenty of racing room. We ran, 4 or 5 corners side by side, and
I don't know. It didn't look like that when you were going round, mate.
no, mate, I reckon, Rubbin's racing. I think
That's it.
at one point it looked like he was going to run out of track, so I moved over to give him a bit of space. But yeah, it was a good battle.
No, it was really, really exciting to watch there as you're coming around. How much do you concentrate on looking for that run? Because I noticed you there a couple of times trying to get through, and you just back off just that little bit so that you could get the run after a rouge and all that as you're coming up the hill. Is that pre-planned, a fair way up the track? That's where I'm going to get him?
Yeah, that's probably one of the easiest spots on the track. So
Yeah.
if you do give yourself naturally turn one, you sort of lose a bit of ground anyway. But I found if you just nice and easy through turn one, get a good run out of there, and then really set yourself up through a rouge, and then really aim for the slipstream. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it makes a good pass.
The reason I bring that up is because we saw an incident between Alex and another driver earlier where they didn't give each other room through a rouge, and the driver on the inside actually eventually ran into the wall. But had he have backed off just that little bit like you did, I noticed you did, or it was Peter, then he would have been able to get that run up the hill. So it was great racing, and it was a pleasure to watch you, mate.
Yeah, thank you. It's no point being side by side or too close at Eau Rouge because it's nearly impossible. It's one lane, so you're better off setting up for the run up the straight.
Without having the stats in front of me, Dean, I think I'm right in saying that's your best result of the season, mate. And if that's the case, what a time to get it.
Oh.
Yeah, definitely my best result. Best result in quali and in the race. So, pretty pumped.
Indeed it was. Hey, mate, stay with us. I'm on a time frame with young Rainer. His parents will get mad if I don't have him out of here by 10 to 10 because he's a young kid and he's got school commitments and he's got to go to bed. So let's get to Rainer Costello now as the race winner. Actually, how are Mum and Dad going to go in a couple of weeks, mate, when the race goes beyond 10 o'clock because it's 250 kilometres and it's going to be somewhere in the vicinity of an hour and 3/4?
Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. Dad supports this as much as he supports my go-karting, so yeah, we'll be all good.
Good on
Congratulations, Rainer.
Yeah, good
Run
on
away, Rainer again.
Exactly right. Hey, Rainer, well done, mate. 3 on the trot now. The hat trick. The last 3 weeks couldn't have gone any better for you. It looks as though that school camp was the refresher you needed, as frustrating as it was to not be in the sim the week of the school camp.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I think just wrapping my head more around the supercar and really working on my driving and really perfecting it really helps a lot. So I think definitely the fact that I'm on 3 in a row and it's good motivation. Laz is definitely going to come back. Bad luck for him. That was a really unlucky incident at the start, probably an incident that shouldn't have happened. But yeah, it was a pretty good race. I'm happy with it.
It was a fantastic performance from you, mate. Again, a cracking scrap with Laz there on the early stages. You found your way past him. Then, of course, all hell broke loose with Ben Morris getting into the back of him. But that was the little kick that you needed to just build a margin and run away with it. Yet again, as Chris says, runaway Rayner, you seem to just find that mojo and kick into the distance. Although that being said, the end of the race wouldn't have wanted to be much longer because Alex Court was closing it at a rapid rate of knots. What was the tactics at the end of the race there, mate? Were you tapering off a little bit, just pushing at 95%, not the 100?
Well, probably with about 6 laps to go or 7 laps to go, when I saw I had a 5-second gap, I just pretty much just lifted off, started cruising. I had 0 incident points, so the goal was to just keep 0 incident points, and I managed to do that. So that's another 5 bonus points. So yeah, that was the goal, and I didn't want to take any risks, and I just managed the gap till the end.
Well done, mate. No, it's a superb performance. Kisby?
I called it there, mate. I called it. Just after the incident with Lassus and that, where you had that big 4-second gap or whatever, and then you had your first pit stop, and then all of a sudden I saw you back in the pits. Now, something was happening in the background where we got tied up with it. What happened?
Well, just like Sonoma, my race lab sort of messed up a little bit, and as I came into the pits, the car went up and it only put 5 liters of fuel in, and then it went down because it had taken my average fuel burn data, but that was based on the safety car period as well. So it was saying that I was using about 0.4 liters of fuel less a lap than I actually was, which meant that it was fueling me for a lot less. So it went down. I didn't realize, and then I quickly put more fuel in it, made it go up. And then, yeah, it was pretty stressful few seconds as I tried to get that sorted, but it was all good in the end.
I know what that feels like, mate, because as we worked out at one of my races last week, I had put push to talk onto the same button as the refill button, and every time I talked to Zach, it turned my fuel off. So when I went into fuel, it was only fueling me by 0.9. So I lost the last 2 weeks. I've lost 2 races. I was in the lead and second, and I've gone right the way back down because of a technical issue of me not mapping my buttons properly. But yeah, well, there we go. But you got, as Zach said, you got back out to 5 seconds again. You're my driver of the night because it was really hard early to come in from second position. With special mention to Alex Court, because Alex, he just drove phenomenally to catch you there in the end. So well done, mate.
Yeah, Alex always has brilliant race pace, so he's always one to watch in the races. And yeah, it was disappointing that we didn't get to see what would happen if Laz and Ben were still there, and Sean probably could have been a great 5-way battle for the lead because it seemed like everyone was pretty even. But yeah, it was, other than that, through the middle stint, it was still a good battle with Alex, trying to keep him behind, and yeah.
So one last thing from me, Zach, and then I'll throw it to you. Rayner, you've got your camp trip to drop. What is your next, at least best round? Which would be the second one that would be dropped?
I believe that's Oran Park. I was leading the race, and then I think earlier in the season I sort of had the wrong mentality about my racing. I was too aggressive and wasn't really calculated enough. I pulled some silly moves and ended up getting 2 drive-throughs that race, and I think that was sort of my turning point where I sort of shifted my driving. It's still aggressive, but more calculated and not going for silly moves. So that would be my up-top round.
Yeah. So how many points did you get from that?
I think I scored 98 out of the 150 points you can score. So
yeah. Okay. Over to you, Zach.
Thanks, mate. My thought, if it wasn't Oran Park, would have been Watkins Glen because he didn't have the best run there either. But if he thinks it's Oran Park, I'm going to side with him because he has this pretty well mapped out. There's no doubt about that. Rayner, a couple of things from me before we let you go, mate. And I apologise that we're going to go a little bit over 950 here, but that's all good. You're the man of the moment, and Kisby, it's not surprising to see that he's nominated your driver of the night. I was half expecting that regardless. With the moment for Lassif when he got caught up in that incident, McNamara, and obviously you were able to pull a 4-second advantage. Up until that point, it was a 6-car freight train. Did you feel a change in your racecraft at that moment because you've gone from having all this pressure stacked on you with 5 cars chasing you to then having nothing?
Yeah, well, I actually made some mistakes that lap because Dean and I got so excited that it was an E1 sim racing one too. So I made a few mistakes, but then I told myself, Rainer, you got to calm yourself down. It's all good. And then I started pushing again and just got my head back in the game. But yeah, definitely once there's not as many cars on you, you can definitely just go into a bit of a rhythm and not push so hard.
Yeah, indeed, that's the case. Where were we on pit strategy, mate? Because obviously the safety car helped and everyone was able to stretch that first stint out to 10, maybe 11 laps, depending upon who you were. With your pit stop, though, was it tyres first stop or second?
Tyre second stop.
Second stop, yeah. Interesting, because I said to Chris Kisby halfway through the call there, and I'll be interested when I get the thoughts of the other guys in just a moment. I was leaning towards, if you can stretch your first stint to 10 on the back of the safety car, stretching what was going to be an 8, maybe 9, if you could save a little bit of fuel, maybe I think it was about a 7th of a lap that you had to save on fuel to get a 9th lap out of your fuel run. 8.83 was what our numbers were saying. We were looking at it saying, well, if you're going to stop on lap 10 and then you're going to stop again on lap 16, maybe you take the tyres first stop because it's a 10 and 12 lap run rather than a 16 and a 6. But obviously you've had that mindset where tyres in the end, at the end of the race, are going to be far more beneficial to you than tyres in the midsection.
Yeah, well, I was looking at it and I thought I had a little bit of a gap to play with, so I thought if I can stretch these tyres a little longer, maybe use up some of that gap in the stint and just save the new tyres for the end, and possibly if there's any charge from the guys behind, then I'll have the advantage to hold them off. So that was the mindset for that one.
Indeed. Thoughts on next week, mate? Because it's Brands Hatch, so we go from a super long circuit to a shorter circuit, and I've already seen a couple of guys joking that race control won't have as much to contend with next week, but I disagree because Brands Hatch is fraught with drama because there's not too much runoff area there.
Yeah, it's a tight little circuit, a pretty fun one, very technical, and the lines have got to be pretty precise. So we'll see how we go. I've done a bit of driving around there in GT cars, but never in a supercar. So I'll do a little bit of practice and then, yeah.
What are you thinking in terms of the next 2 weeks, mate? Because obviously drop rounds come into the equation. I mean, you're still eyeing a podium finish in this championship. You might be able to squeeze yourself in there with Alex Courton, Lassif, Leonage. I mean, now that Leonage definitely has a drop round to throw out the window here, going to make the points race very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the win is still the objective. You can't stop pushing until it's over, and there's always hope until it's end, until the last lap of the Bathurst race. So first in the championship is still the goal.
Then you dominate these 150-kilometre races, mate. I mean, 170 at Silverstone, but where do you sit with regards to Bathurst? Because that's 250k. We know that Interlagos didn't exactly go to script for you. What are your thoughts going into the mountain?
Yeah, well, Interlagos was sort of that week when I was getting used to the new pedals, so I wasn't quite on form, and yeah, so I'm still feeling confident about the mountain. It should be all good.
Excellent. I can't think of anything else, and Chris Kisby's already bolted through. He's on mute at the moment, so we can't hear this conversation. Well done to you, mate. Congratulations. I'll let you have the floor now to thank whoever you want to thank before you shoot through.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Coughlin Race Engineering, Daniel Coughlin, who does all the GAC setups. He does a great job for the league. F Suicide, E1 Sim Racing, RSW Graphics, Abrizi Simware, Total IT Solutions Brisbane, JP, and everyone that makes these races possible. The guys in race control, you Zach and Chris for all the commentary, for making it exciting, and my mum and dad for all their support and allowing me to race.
Well done, mate. Congratulations. There's that incident again that you just saw on screen there for Laz and Sean McNamara and Benny Morris as well there, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get back to that in a moment because that's a big talking point. There's a couple of penalties we want to discuss here as well. But Rainer, well done, mate. Enjoy the rest of the week knowing that you are a real title contender here, and you can go to school and tell all your friends about what was a superb drive tonight, mate. Well done.
Thank you.
Rainer Costello. Apologies to everybody else, but I've got to get Rainer in and out very quickly. His mum and dad will crack the whip otherwise, but good on you, Mr. and Mrs. Costello. The young bloke's done well. tonight. Let's go to Alex Court on that note. By gee, what a performance. And it was interesting, Alex, you seemed pretty confident when you were just messaging me on socials this afternoon trying to find out what the hell was going on up here in southeast Queensland. I don't think half of Queensland knew what the hell was going on in southeast Queensland today. But you said, hopefully, I'll chat to you post-race tonight, and here you are, second, mate, on a night where you flew the flag for the NTS squad.
Well done, Alex.
Yeah, cheers, Kisby. Look, first of all, I'm going to congratulate Rayner on a clean race. That is an astonishing effort around here, where off tracks are so easy to get. So fair play, well done to you. Good race. Yeah, look, I always enjoy coming up and chatting to you guys. Yeah, so felt like
Well, we do have the Tasmanian connection, mate. So of course you do. You've got to get up here.
That's it. Yeah. Qualifying didn't go as I planned. I was hoping to be up the front a little bit more than I was. But I knew that I had pretty good race pace. So yeah.
But gee, you race well, mate. I mean, that's not the first time we've seen you come from the fourth row this season to be on the podium. You race better than you qualify, and I think that's something that works to your advantage, being able to follow the pack through, make the most of other people's misfortunes. Unfortunately, tonight it was your teammate, and you came through and cleaned up, and you were in it to win it, which was more than we can say for Laz tonight. And it's not often we say that, but it just goes to show that qualifying, as critical as it is in terms of there's a couple of bonus points up for grabs, this, that, and the other, it's not the be-all and end-all.
Yeah, look, 100%. It was really unfortunate with what happened with Laz, but I was able to pick the pieces up for the team. So, yeah.
All right. I'll press on here. I'll come back to Alex in just a moment. I wasn't sure if you.
Yeah, we're freezing up down here, mate. It is a bit cold, and it's raining, and the ice is hitting, and there's snow up on the hills. So yeah, we are freezing down here. Okay.
Copy
Sorry,
that.
I also ran out of words as well. Sorry.
That's right, mate. All good. All good. Actually, since you're there, again, I wasn't sure if it was a case of you dropping out or you just froze up on words, but it happens to the best of us. You'll be happy to know, ladies and gentlemen, we were talking about some interesting tactics at Mosport with one of the guys getting back to the lane about half an hour after the race had finished. Everyone's back in the lane, disconnected from the server, but the server still has an hour and 2 minutes to rock and roll. So I'm just sitting here watching the clock tick out.
Well done,
I'm going to see a lovely sunset over Spa and wish for Christ that it would happen here in Queensland at one point or another. But no, that's
yeah. Moving right along.
Yeah, moving right along. Let's go back to Alex Court. Alex, cracking battle with Sean McNamara. Surely not the way you would have wanted that battle to end either. I mean, that was intense stuff, and 2 wide through Eau Rouge can sometimes be a recipe for disaster. Unfortunately, tonight was one of those occasions. It was unlucky for Sean, but it was the break you needed to secure second because by G, he was giving you a run for your money.
100%. It's always hard work racing with Sean. He's a very tough competitor to race with. Previous series champion, so yeah, the guy's got pace, and it's always very good when we're racing together on track. It was just unfortunate for him to go off there, but I capitalised 100% on it. So
yeah, there was no give between either of you coming through a Rouge there. I thought one of you might have given, but to me, you had the run on the corner, and you'd worked to get that overlap coming down the straight. And as I mentioned there with Dean before, and we saw it with Dean and Peter, I think it was, they gave, and then Dean was able to come capitalise with the run out of a Rouge going up the hill. And I would have expected, being the time in the race, I can understand what's gone on there. But once again, I would have expected either one or the other. But you had the run on it, and I would have thought Sean might have backed off just a touch to get the run going up the hill. So, great racing. Yeah, I say it week after week after week, I learned so much from you guys in the way of tactics and how to race and race etiquette. It's a real credit to the series and the organisers that they've got you guys in there to race the way as close and as hard and as safe as the way you guys do.
Yeah, no, thanks for that, Kisby. Look, it could have gone anyway. You know, like it could have been me in the wall, and it would have been Sean up here.
Yep.
It's just fortunate that it went my way. Um, like you said, you know, I felt that I had a pretty good run coming out of the turn one
I
there.
thought you did, yeah.
You know, I was just holding my line, and I knew we were close, and I wasn't sure if it was netcode or like I felt a little bit of a rub there from Sean, but um, you know, yeah, I just held my line going up over the hill there, and yeah, I saw that he went off in the rearview mirror. So yeah, again to him, unlucky for that, but awesome battle as always.
Ah, it was.
That being said, well done to him as well in as many
Yeah,
in as many respects, because he was able to soldier on and not trigger a caution. And I thought that was potentially a game changer if it did trigger a caution at that point. So well done to Sean McNamara and all of that. Alex, where were you with regards to tyres, mate? Was it the second stop or the first?
Ah, yeah, second stop, mate.
speaking
again,
of pit stop, Zach, we did notice.
Yeah.
Remember the big undercut that Rayner got on Alex? What happened there, Alex? We thought, oh well, you're becoming you were down under 2 seconds, and then he got the undercut on you. Did he get a bit faster, or did something happen in the pits to hold you up there a little bit?
Yeah, look, so the plan was that I was actually going to follow Rayner in when he pitted. Unfortunately, though, I wasn't able to get the car onto the right line to be able to go into the pit entry. So I had to go around again, and then I slightly overfueled, probably by half a second.
Yeah, it cost you a fair bit coming out, though.
It did, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So that's something my crew chief and I are still working on. It's a fairly new partnership between me and him. So yeah,
So
I
you've
mean,
given him his first written warning, have you?
not yet. Well, actually, no, I have. He got that after Silverstone.
Oh, okay. Back to you,
But,
Zach. Sorry about that, mate.
no, you're more than welcome to jump in anytime you like, Kisby. That's why you're here. That's called being a co-commentator. You're doing a great job as per usual. Alex Court. Yeah, interesting that most drivers went for the tyres on the second stop. How were the tyres at the second stop? How were the old set, the first set? Because I was a little bit concerned about potential tyre wear and the fact that you were pushing so long into the race on one set. I thought, as I said to Rayner, I thought once you were able to extend that first stop, or he was at least, out to lap 10 rather than lap 9 or 8, that might have been an enticing invitation to take that set then and run with it, run the gauntlet. Obviously not. How were the tyres? Were they okay, or were they screwed?
yeah, no, look, they felt really good. So I could have went probably another couple more laps, but you know, had to try and cover Rayner. So yeah, no, so they felt really good this week.
Good to hear, mate. Good to hear. I'll come back to you very shortly. We'll get your thoughts on Brands Hatch. In the meantime, let me get to Simon Vella, and apologies because he's only been waiting here half an hour to have a chat to us.
Quiet achiever.
Very much so. Hey, Simon, 9th to 3rd. So you followed Alex through. He was directly in front of you at the start. You're directly behind him at the finish. The margin, however, was about 12 seconds between you and Rayner Castillo at the front of the field. However, great performance to get on the podium, mate. Well done.
Yeah, it was a pretty clean race for my half. I just kept my nose out of everything, and yeah, pretty much really passed many cars. Just as I said, just kept it clean, and yeah.
That was noticeable throughout the race there, Simon, because we sort of didn't, as you know, we focus on crashes, exciting and things like that. And the reason I made the comment of quiet achiever was that you just held your line, you sat to your race pace, and you let things unfold in front of you. without panicking, and you've got the reward of the podium finish, which congratulations to that. So that was once again quite achiever, great racing, and great foresight to hold your nerve as you were going through, and things were unfolding around you there, mate.
Didn't make it easy on myself. I underfilled the car by almost 5 litres in my last stop, so I had to conserve
Ooh.
quite a bit just to make sure I get home on the cool down lap.
I was wondering why you jumped me so much.
Yeah. Well, we found out with is it Peter? He didn't finish on his final lap because he ran out of fuel on that one. So as I've made the comment before, pardon, well, was that JP? Yeah, so it's fairly harsh that you that rule is in place after the final lap there, and from my eyes. But as I say, we all have our different views on it. But no, it's great. It was great to watch.
Simon, just going back, I mean, as we said, the quiet achiever of the night. Did you find yourself in any traffic, in any sort of dicing at any point, mate? Because I'm struggling to recall any moment where we were talking about you in an overtaking sense.
Nah, not really. It's just, I was pretty much on my own most of the race. I was trying to stay behind Alex early in the race, but I got stuck behind another car. And once I kind of fell too far to get a slipstream, it was hard to hang on to that group. But then they had their little bit of an accident there, which I was kind of happy in a way that I was further back and I didn't get involved in it.
Well, that's exactly right, mate. And the easiest way to keep your nose clean is by staying out of all that drama. Hey, nicely done, mate. Congratulations. Fantastic performance. Stay there with me, guys, because I'm going to come back to you in just a moment. In the meantime, Mark Duggan's been nice enough to jump up from race control to have a chat with Chris Kisby and I on the back of one of the more controversial incidents of the season. And this is one point that I wanted to get Chris Kisby's thoughts on, and it was the disqualification of Steve Vella, if you don't mind. And I've already seen a message from Steve suggesting that he won't be back for the remaining 2 rounds of the season. He's thrown the toys out of the cot, packed up and gone home. But Mark, just talk us through what happened there, mate, because it caught all of us by surprise.
So Steve was caught up in a couple of different incidents tonight that he probably feels like maybe some should have gone his way, but they didn't. And then he had a drive-through penalty for an incident with car 64, I think it was.
Yep,
and
Schultz.
Yep, and then he just let out a tirade of abuse and said he was out of here, and we decided to disqualify him.
And it was interesting because obviously we saw the car on our timing monitor go off track. We then saw it head straight for the pit lane. We were a little bit surprised until the message came through about the disqualification, because as you guys know, with regards to series regulations, you have to request a tow from race control and all that sort of stuff. And then obviously in that adjudicated it, you've given the DQ. That balances everything out, and we were able to play on.
I mean, it's unfortunate. Steve's been racing for a long time, and he does know the rules of what we do. And it's disappointing to have him kind of discharge himself the way he did. But sometimes in the heat of the moment, that's what happens.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So just so that we're clear, for those at home that are trying to come to terms with the incident, and of course we're trying to make sense of it here as well, it's because of the language used in the direction of race control. And there are rules regarding that in our regulations regarding language, not just to race officials, but also to fellow competitors, yeah?
Right. We don't tolerate any abuse to anybody, either racing, race control. It's just unacceptable to, let out a tirade like he did.
Also disappointing because obviously, Steve's been an integral part of the series, and he's also involved as part of our great supporters and sponsors that make the series happen as well. So, yeah, hugely frustrating for him. Mark, I appreciate you coming in to have a chat to us about that. Chris Kisby, I want to bring you in on this because you deal with this sort of stuff as well over in the Gentleman's Sim Racing Club, you are in race controls position once or twice a week, maybe more. In fact, one of the you're one of the busiest
Every
men in
night,
the club.
actually.
No
Every
doubt
night,
about it.
actually. Yeah.
Because you're either driving, you're commentating, or you're officiating. It's difficult, isn't it? Because we've all been there. We've all been in Steve Vella's position. We've all been in the heat of the moment, in a position where we probably shouldn't be. Where we shouldn't be letting out expletives. It just happens on the spur of the moment, whether it's an F-bomb or a C-bomb. I know that's the bad one that we need to steer well clear of. But it's one of those things, isn't it? We just let it out in the heat of the moment. And unfortunately for Steve, it proved costly tonight.
It did. I don't like to focus on these things too much. It's something that happens, and it happens to the best of us. It's happened to me, probably not to the extent that has happened tonight. We're of the view we just do not tolerate it at all. The drivers know the rules. Steve will go back, calm down, and he'll say to himself, yeah, well, okay, I shouldn't have done that. And that's what we find in my experience as a race controller. Most of the time, the guys will come back and apologise for their rant or their tirade, and the red mist descends. I mean, how many times have you seen the red mist descend on a particular driver over there? But it's just one of those things that happens. It's dealt with at the time. Move on. And leave it at that. It's sort of the uglier side that we don't like to see. And so long as all race controllers, not just in my league, in this league, congratulations to Mark. I'm completely in support of what was done. Then so long as we're all on the same page, we all don't. Every driver in iRacing knows that you cannot get away with that if you have live race control, and it eventually, hopefully, it will be stamped out. But having said that, you are going to get those little incidents where a driver is frustrated from the night and just lets it go. It's happened to the best of drivers. It's happened to, one of the most gentlemanly people that I ever know, and you and I both know him, of Nico. I've heard him go off in recent times. You'd never hear a crossword out of him, but he'd sit back later. Okay, yeah, it was a bad decision or a bad incident or whatever, but I still should not have gone off like that. So hopefully Steve will see that and do what I think he would probably do, seeing him race over the last season, how good a racer he is. He'll look at that and then he'll send an apology. He'll take what's given and move on, and that's what I think everyone should do.
Well, I don't think I'm out of place mentioning this, that he's just been booted for the rest of the season. He won't play any further part in the NCS series, which is a real shame. But that being said, hopefully somewhere down the track, bridges will mend, and whatever the case may be, they'll be able to patch things up, and he might come back and play further part. But that's rules are rules. Mark, just on what Chris Kisby was saying there, I mean, yeah, it's one of those frustrating situations where sometimes you just reach the end of your tether, and it just goes to show how serious these guys treat this caper on a Tuesday night. I mean, there'll be some people watching along at home thinking, oh, isn't this nice, these guys going out and having the hit and giggle, but for these guys, this is big business.
Oh, absolutely. Guys put a lot of hours into practicing. Like I've done what Steve's done before. I'm ashamed to say, but in the
We're
heat,
all guilty.
in the heat, you do say stuff and you let it fly. But like Chris said, like upon reflection, I've always come back and admitted my wrongs, and I've tried to learn and grow from it. And I'm sorry to see Steve exit the way he has, and it's probably a lot of frustration, not just from the night, but from the season.
Season. Yeah, it's built up over. It's been a long season. It's 15 weeks. We've been doing this for 16 weeks. We had 1 week off there between, I think it might have been rounds 5 and 6 or 6 and 7, and we have been committing to this for 16 weeks now. We've got 2 rounds to go. Then we get a little bit of time off. Not much though, because then we launch straight into season 2. And when it builds up over the season, you just get to the point where you just say, bleep
But
it.
it's not just the season, Zach. It's also outside influences as well. You don't know
Oh,
what sort
absolutely.
of day that person's had.
Exactly.
So, and that's why I always say is that it's not just verbal abuse. It's as in the swearing and things like that. There's bullying. There's all sorts of things that you take in that could be abuse. And race controllers have got to take that on track. There's incidences going everywhere. But yeah, it's we handle it, and that's the way it is. And unfortunately, the drivers have got to cop it, and we move on.
Indeed, we do. Mark, I appreciate you stopping by to have a chat about that. Hopefully, the next time we have you in race control, it'll be in commentary on the back of a night in race control. It'll be something far more pleasant and life affirming. But anyway, that it is what it is. But I'm glad that we were able to clarify that, not just for Kisby's and my sake, but for the benefit of those watching on that were a little bit confused by what happened there as well, because you would have just seen the name disappear from the screen, and yeah, all hell broke loose. We were wondering what the hell was going on. We got clarification. We had to wait until after the race for full clarification, but we've got that now from Mark Duggan. We appreciate that. We are running a little bit over time tonight, folks, but again, with the circumstances, it happens. And we'll press on that note. We wish Steve all the very best. But yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, Kisby mentions that we all let it out occasionally. I was in commentary on Saturday, and there was just one incident too many, and I just let out a couple of things that I wouldn't normally let out in the spare of the moment. I was a bit fired up, a bit passionate about something that happened on track.
Touché.
Admittedly, it was a dead set cock up. But it was one of those things that was a bridge too far, and I won't back down on the comments that I made because I stand by them, and I've had a lot of support for the comments that I made. But I don't think the organisation that I made them or directed them to will be very happy with them for a while. But that's neither here nor there. Let's press on with the post-race show for the NCS Super Series, shall we? And on that note, yeah, exactly. On that note, I need to thank all the great people that make it possible for us to do what we do here each and every Tuesday night before the drivers thank their own personal sponsors here as well. That, of course, includes the great people at Nationwide Technology Systems, Racecraft Simulations, Blue Stampede, Labour Hire, Hybrid Racing Simulations, TJM, Parramatta, Dragon RC and Abritzi, Australia, alongside Track Camps for Gourmet and the Melbourne Hydrographics Depot. Let's go back.
I do try to keep him on track, drivers, but yeah, sometimes he just takes the rein, gets a bit between his teeth, and he runs, and there's no stopping him. He's just like a young colt sometimes.
That's my version of the red mist, but and that's exactly what I'm glad that you mentioned the red mist, because that's the exact point that I wanted to make. It's sometimes a case of red mist, and there's no off button. There's no control button on it. It's just you just let rip. We've all had those moments, more than I'm willing to admit. Anyway, let's go back to Simon Vella. Simon, what was your strategy tonight, mate?
My strategy for tonight, sorry.
So did you go tyres second stop or first stop?
Yeah. It did my tyres second stop, yeah. I tried to stay out as late as I could, get the car as light as possible.
And that's interesting too, because obviously second stop means that you were running the tyres later, but also running longer into the race meant shorter stint home, therefore less fuel. But that was even something that caught a few people out. Of course, Peter Crossingham failed to make it back to pit lane. As per regulations, he cops a 3-place penalty. So, I mean, rules are rules, and twice tonight they've had a big impact. First was Steve Vella, what we were talking about there for 5 minutes with Mark, and then obviously what's happened here with Peter Crossingham running out of fuel on the slowdown lap. So that's always one of those gambles, isn't it? You've got to make sure you've got enough for the slowdown lap, but you've also, if you're in victory lane, you've got to make sure you've got enough for Dowies as well. Anyway, let's see who else wants to have a chat here as we go on. I was hoping someone was going to jump in there and rescue me. Hey, Dino, that's an awesome result. No, Simon didn't want to jump in at all. Dino, that's an awesome result for you, mate. I mean, PBs for you and Simon tonight, I think, in terms of round results. We'll have a look at championship points in just a moment. But firstly, just going back to you, Dean, how much of a confidence booster is that going into the final 2 rounds of the season, mate?
Yeah, it's good. It's good to finally, I have a fair bit of bad luck, so it's good to get a good one. Unfortunately, I won't be racing next week because I'm away for work. But yeah, definitely plenty of practice going into Bathurst. So looking forward to it.
Well, they
That's
say
the system
driving
on that
is
counts.
80% skill and 20% luck. So, yeah,
I was going to say a couple of them used all of their 20% tonight, Kisters.
they did. They did.
Yeah, I reckon
Alex being one of them.
even me, I reckon I probably used all my luck for the whole series. Haven't had much else wise.
Oh dear. Simon, what about you, mate? How much confidence do you take out of tonight going into Brands Hatch and Bathurst, and what are your thoughts on Brands Hatch in the interim here?
I don't think I've Brands Hatch installed yet, so I'm gonna have to get that downloaded.
Well, get
Um,
practicing, mate.
this is probably my least favourite track. So I'm quite happy that we've gotten a podium here. So
But that's interesting. I brought the point up several times is that I love this track. And I know a few guys don't like the track. Why don't you like the track?
I prefer tracks where you got to float a car over curbs and stuff like that. Where this track you got to just what's the word? You got to just you got to keep the whole car speed up through every corner. And I just struggle to do that.
Momentum.
Yeah, yeah, you keep the momentum up, and like I'm always braking too early or getting too much wheel spin out of a corner. Just I can't get the car to flow right around this track.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's interesting from a driver's perspective because I do drive as well. And I do have that problem where I brake early because and I'm training myself to brake a bit later. And it's working. But even so, I can still get a good flow and through this track. And personally, I love the elevation changes, the way that we flow around. You've got to hit a rouge right, and if you hit that right, it flows beautifully up the hill, and you get that run. That's some of my personal stuff that I like about it. But it was always interesting to find out why drivers don't like it, and I can respect that too.
Let's start to look towards wrapping this up, boys, because otherwise we're going to go well over time here, and that's not fair on anybody. But Alex Court, what about you, mate? Obviously, you take a lot of confidence out of tonight as well. You've really hit your stride in the second half of the season. You must be looking forward to finishing on a strong note with, obviously, next week we know Brands Hatch. That's one of those toss a coin sort of situations. It could favour some. It could it might not favour some, and it could throw up a surprise result, much like tonight did. But then Bathurst, that's your wheelhouse. You and Laz had an all right run there last year.
Yeah, 100%. Looking forward to the season. Mainly so I can give my wrist a rest. So still having problems with that, but that's another story. But yeah, look, just touching on when you were asking Simon there about who likes track. I like Spa, but the thing I don't like is how easy it is to get off tracks. Like the inconsistency, the inconsistency for iRacing, it's just ridiculous. Like some tracks you can go so far off the track and not get penalised, and then you come to somewhere like Spa and it's like you haven't even got two wheels barely off the track and it's an off track, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, agreed.
But look, that's the things we have to deal with as racers. And we can whinge and complain all we like, but yeah.
Well, coming up over a rouge and up the hill there, where it throws you to the left there, in iRacing, it's an off track, really easy. But in another platform that I race Spa at, it's you see cars going over there all the time. Half a car all the time.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to get a penalty from it.
Yeah. I don't know what it is with Spa, but it's definitely. I personally think it's the worst track for off track. But yeah. So moving on to next week. Yeah, Brands Hatch.
I was going to say, yeah, that's going to be an interesting test, mate. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
Hey, just quickly, you mentioned your wrist, mate. You were in quite some pain with it last week. How was it after tonight?
Yeah, look, it's not been too bad. So, Cherie Matthews, my sponsor from All Sorts Disability, she's been a bit of a lifesaver tonight. So she has this product. It's called a BioFlow band, and it's a magnetic sports band. So I tried that tonight, and it got me through the race. So yeah, if anyone out there who has pain, hit up BioFlow. I'm not sponsored or anything, but it works.
Hey, nothing like a free plug every now and then. It sometimes does the trick. And by the way, Strepsils.
Fireflow, come in with the iRacing dollars.
Exactly. By the way, Strepsils, I'm still wanting some sponsorship as well for the. But that's another story for another day. And Cavallano honey as well. It's usually a good combination. And in the meantime,
Speaking of sponsors,
exactly. Hey, Kisby, I'm going to get to the sponsors
Yes.
from these guys in just a moment. I just want to go back
Yes.
to you on something you were saying with regards to Simon Dean and also Alex there about.
what have I done?
No, nothing. You were talking about some tracks working for some drivers and not for others. It's one of those things, isn't it? You can't have all drivers liking all circuits, otherwise it'd take the fun out of it.
Well, exactly right. Unless your name's Shane Van Gisbergen and the likes of those, yeah, they seem to do well at any track that they go to. But yeah, it's some tracks click with me, some don't, and it's the same with everybody. They've got their ones that they prefer. Look at the top drivers, Hobbo, all that sort of stuff. At least nobody hit an invisible object tonight like Hobbo did the other night. But that's another story. I mean, guys, you watch the replay from I think it was TCRs last week. You'll see Hobbo hit something mysteriously invisible on the track and go spinning off, and we just could not figure out what happened. It was just hilarious. But yeah, no, that's the way it is, mate. Yeah, different courses, horses for different courses.
100%, and also it comes down to different style of racecraft, different driving style, so many different factors, and you get some cars that people don't like on certain circuits as well. We know our good mate Nick Fodiatis, he despises Sebring and Coda with a passion.
Yeah.
I only found out last night that he despises Coda almost as much as he despises Sebring. So, and they're two of the next 4 stops in the GT3 series that we commentate on a Monday night. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. There's no doubt about that.
Interesting tonight with Nürburgring combined.
Oh, I could imagine. Yeah, geez, long circuit, long laps. Let's start to kick this thing home, ladies and gentlemen. Anything else you want to add to the drivers here, Kisby? I think I'm out of questions, so it's just get them to thank the
I'm
sponsors
just
and
about
wrap it
out.
up.
It's time for them to thank the people that matter most to them, and we can wrap the night up. And I can keep you moving.
Exactly. Dean Powell, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Just want to thank our sponsors, obviously. Coghlan Race Engineering, RSW Graphics, they do the graphics for us. Brucey Simware, Total IT Solutions Brisbane, F Suicide, and then obviously my race team at E1 Sim Racing for all the support that they give us, and JP and Nationwide Tracking Systems for the sponsorship of the series.
Let's move from Dean Powell to Simon Vella.
Thank you, Century Motorsports, Fuchs Oil, Snap-on, Fluoron Studio, and last but not least, KFC, where you can get your $4.95 hot rods fill-ups until 4 p.m.
Oh, very nice.
KFC, come on with the iRacing dollars.
Actually, I'm going to be hitting up. Full disclosure, and I'm not going to name names. Full disclosure, there's a young lady that I've been chatting to the last couple of days. She loves KFC. We order the same thing, the original recipe Philip Burger combo upsized. The only difference is the drinks. Now that I'm hearing Simon Vella give plugs for KFC, I'm coming to you, mate, when it comes time for me to go KFC shopping later in the year. You've just made me feel hungry at 10:30 at night. Not a good idea. Let's go to Alex Court. All yours, mate.
So first of all, Racing with Autism Australia, All Sorts Disability, Simshed Broadcasting, Nationwide Technology Services, Goodyear Auto Care Arana, Dragon RC, DSL Welding, Brucey Simware, VR Cover, Hearts for Hope, Blue Stampede Labour Hire. As always, Gary Bradshaw for tuning in from New Zealand. Teammates from Simshed Broadcasting, Aaron, my engineer, my family, and all the guys in race control, to you and Kisby and JP as well. And I'll also chuck in there a thanks to BioFlow for their awesome products, even though I'm not sponsored.
Yeah, exactly right. Although that being
Not yet.
said, not yet. Yeah, he might soon snag a sponsorship out of that. Very nicely done, Alex Court. Hey, just finally to you, Alex. I mean, Laz, experienced campaigner, seasoned professional. Tonight's going to hurt. Not necessarily because of the drop round factor, but it is a little bit of a confidence dint going into the business end of the championship. How does someone like the number one bounce back in the next 2 weeks?
Oh, look, I can guarantee, you know, Laz is going to be hurting now, but come tomorrow, you know, new day, he'll come out and he'll come back fighting 10 times harder. He said it to me before, you know, like a couple of when I've had a better result than him, it makes him push that a little bit more following week. So yeah, guarantee 100%. You know, he'll come out fighting for the next 2 weeks.
Well, you guys have got to break this streak of rainers.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah,
Pressure's on.
that's the plan. I was hoping to do it this week, but
Not a chance, mate. No, that blue disc is just too far in front of you.
Yeah.
well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Agree to disagree,
agree to
indeed.
disagree. That's the beauty of this country.
That's
Well, I don't agree to disagree in the sense that I'm also a Ford fan in real life with Kisby, but at the same time I'll agree to disagree in the sense that the stats, the points lean very much heavily in Holden's direction at the moment as far as this championship is concerned, and we wait and see what happens when drop rounds come into play next week. Let's have a look at the championship standings before we wrap things up here, and apologies for keeping you around this long, folks, to have a look at these. There it is. Alex Corder's gapped Cameron Jones, and he's within striking distance of his teammate. 2,202 place, 2,109. So what's that? 93 points the margin. It's looking good for them for a 1-2 at the moment. 48 points back to Cameron Jones in third. Rainer Costello closing in nicely. 2023 in fourth. He is here to play in the closing stages of the NTS Super Series for Nationwide Technology Systems, of course. Ben Morris, fifth, despite tonight. Blake Urquhart, sixth. Alan Dawson there in seventh. And then you go back to Sean McNamara after another difficult night at the office. Craig Schultz and Chris Barnes. That's three difficult nights at the helm in a row for Sean McNamara. Robert Crisdale's 11th. Ash Davis, Scott McEwen, Daniel Schultz, and Lindsay Hobbs make up the top 15. I don't know if you caught it, ladies and gentlemen, but just to the right of screen there on the edge of the graphic, Barney was waving the white flag. So you're seeing the last lap of the race on replay here. I'll let JP continue scrolling the points there for your benefit at home, ladies and gentlemen. But Barney was waving it like frantically, and I couldn't quite tell whether he was just standing on the hill with the spectators or whether he actually had a designated flagpole. I couldn't tell. Didn't look like he was in a flagpole to me. It looked like he was just standing in the grass, hoping that someone would notice him. Anyway.
At least he wasn't on the track.
Yeah, and at least he was actually doing his job tonight. Unlike last night, he forgot to wave the flag. But anyway,
okay.
That's Barney for you. Some nights he's on, some nights he's off. It's like a mad woman's pools coupon. Let's, on that note, wrap things up.
Right.
As far as the Nationwide Technology Systems V8 Super Series is concerned, Simon Vella, well done on third. Dean Powell, well done on fourth. Alex Court, well done on second. Anything else you guys want to add before we rock and roll out of here?
Bring on next week.
All right, done. Well done, boys. Thank you. Congratulations. There's a look ahead as far as SimShed Broadcasting is concerned. Massive week ahead. The Goodyear V8 T2 E-Series tomorrow night for Goodyear Auto Camerata. That comes your way from 8:20 Australian Eastern Standard Time from back here at Spa. Round 15 of that championship as well. Matt Davis will be in the booth with Andrew Collins, or, insert name here. I'm hoping that they'll have a full suite of commentators there tomorrow night. Saturday night, I'll be back in the booth, actually, because Aidan Schultz, our regular lead commentator on a Saturday night for the Weekend Warriors Cup Car Racing Series, he will be in the car. We'll be able to cross to him as an in-race reporter for us as we head to the Charlotte Motor Speedway in North Carolina for the Memorial Day Weekend Showdown. That is 7:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time on Saturday night. Make sure you join us for that. Then, next Tuesday night, Nationwide Technology Systems V8 Super Series, penultimate round. As I said, Last week was the start of 4 weeks, 4 different countries, 4 completely different circuits. Next week, it is Brands Hatch. Yeah, I'm right. Barney's just sitting there on the hill with the spectators. He hasn't even got a stand. What the bloody hell's going on
poor
here?
Barney.
Come on, iRacing. You could put him on the other side where they normally have the flagman. Anyway, fair dinkum. He's just blending in with the plebs now. Well done to Raider Costello tonight. That was an emphatic performance. Next week, as I say, Brands Hatch is the venue. Round 16 of the Nationwide Technology Systems V8 Super Series. Over 150 kilometres. The final sprint round of the season before we get stuck into the second and last enduro of the season, the final of the Triple Crown races from Mount Panorama, Bathurst, and we will have extended coverage of that final round. Not only will we have the race over 250 kilometres, but our coverage will start earlier because we'll have a top 10 shootout for you, and we look forward to bringing all that to you. A huge night ahead on Tuesday, the 8th of June, but we must get through next week first. It'll be our first of 2 in the month of June. June 1, 8:20 Australian Eastern Standard Time. I'm getting my Saturdays and my Tuesdays mixed up. 8:20 Australian Eastern Standard Time next week when we head to Brands Hatch. Chris Kisby, thank you to you for all your expert insights tonight.
Zach.
Appreciate that. Thanks to JP. Thanks to our race control team. All the broadcast partners that I ran through there earlier, headed by, of course, Nationwide Technology Systems, our naming rights partner of the Super Series here. Hope you've enjoyed all the action on SimShed Broadcasting. Well done to JP. A brilliant job in the director's chair once again. And well done to you at home for sticking in there with us, hanging out with us until just after 10:30 on a Tuesday night. Go and get some sleep. We'll see you tomorrow night for the Goodyear Auto Cover Run and V8 T2E Series. Then on Saturday night for the NASCARs. Then back here next Tuesday night for the penultimate outing of the NTS Series for Season 1. There's another 2 seasons to come, but more on that in the coming weeks as well. Until then, on behalf of Chris Kisby and the team, I'm Zach Caban saying thank you and goodbye for now.